So this is a program called Hypershot. A company called Bunkspeed makes this. It's a pretty sweet program, especially for doing this kind of thing. So you start out, so I'm just importing my OBJ file here. In this program, you can assign all these pre-made materials. You can to your object. It has cool, HDR background lighting. It does really cool lighting, like really quickly. So again, for this kind of thing, like what I usually do with robots or mechanical stuff, it works great. So here you can set if you want the object to have ground shadows or be reflective on the ground. You can set up cameras, change the focal length. So I'm messing with. So that's kind of like field of view. So how extreme you want the perspective to be. You can have different backgrounds, all kinds of stuff in here. You can't add lights. You can't move geometry or anything like that. But for rendering out models that you have, it's really good. So here I opened up one of their environment images. This is one I like to use a lot. It's like of a gravel pit, and then went in and made the environment invisible, so it's against a gray background, but the materials on the model are going to pick up the lighting and the environment. So you just go in and you click on the different materials in here, and then you just right click, hold shift and right click on the different objects on your model, and that's how you assign materials. So it's pretty fun just to go in here and kind of explore and try out different materials and see what it looks like. As I mentioned before, I'm thinking this guy's going to be this kind of dark, black kind of robot. I wanted to look pretty imposing, like the robot I'd want to pick. So there's a number of materials, lots of different metals, painted metals or painted materials. A lot of the painted ones I like to use actually for metal. There's just kind of playing around here some. And when I exported this, I exported it with quite a bit of different materials. So I kind of have to zoom in and look at the different things in there. To add materials to all the different kind of groups I have. That's the downside of having lots of materials when you're exporting, is that you actually have to go in and assign a material to each thing. But then you get the chance to have more variety if you want it. But then a lot of times I usually end up in this program doing things pretty uniformly, and then if I want color variation in Photoshop, just do an overlay or something and add some color variation. So this is really nice because you can see pretty close to you can get a good idea of what the lighting is going to look like in a final render just in real time. And again, this model I have in here has a ton of turbo smooths on it and stuff, so it's pretty poly heavy. So you can get, it's nice because you don't spend a ton of time on a rendering that ends up sucking and you have to redo it all. So you get a pretty good idea of playing with some different materials. A lot of times I like to kind of go with a kind of cool colors on the outside for the exterior armor, maybe warmer for the interior metals, or vice versa, or lights and darks. Some way of kind of popping the exterior out from the interior. That the interior more detailed stuff, and the exterior kind of larger places, larger pieces. It's kind of a nice metal, but I want to go more dark with it. The arrows actually up and down on the keyboard, we'll adjust it, and then we'll do kind of like large scale adjustments to lighting, and then left and right on the arrows we'll do kind of smaller scale adjustments to the lighting, more bright or less bright. And then you can right click on any of the materials you've assigned and then go in and tweak them out. That I use often on this kind of thing. So sometimes you can, like I mentioned with the 3D in here also, you can get carried away just kind of having fun, seeing what it looks like. And sometimes, something cool comes out of it that you never thought about, and you decide to go in a different direction. And sometimes you just kind of waste a little bit of time, but it's fun. So there, I made kind of a custom. I customized one of the materials, and then I'm going back to the other parts and pasting it on there. So that shield, I'm not really feeling. I think the idea is pretty cool, but I'm not liking it that much. Something over there that would generate light, though, that's cool. So I'll have to think about adjusting that. So here I'm going in, changing the brightness of the environment, messing with the gamma. So there, I just copied the material of the knees, put it up on the chest. It's a good idea, as I mentioned a number of times, when you're doing this kit bashing stuff, pieces that are similar, to color them similarly. It's not so easy to say. So you can drop in the ground shadow, except I think my model's a little bit off the ground here, so the ground shadow doesn't work that well. I'll just have to end up painting it in, I think. So here I'm just saving the file, or setting up so that when I render it out, it'll be named the right thing. So you change the output width, height. I always make sure you have include the alpha channel. That way I can adjust the background separate from the model. It just really helps with doing paint overs and stuff, because you want to be able to have different backgrounds. So. Kind of hiding a lot of the cool geometry. So here I'm just trying to make that shield work. Playing with some different materials. This is the X-ray material, but I think because of the perspective, along with the curve that I added to the shield, it just is shading it a little bit weird. I don't know. I don't like it so much. Playing with some different materials on the whips here. The material is pretty nice, but the lighting on the rim is a little extreme on that material. So we'll just keep working with these materials some here.